This is the first of a series of videos about Aurobindo's The Life Divine, Book 1, Chapter 1. Good morning, this is Chris speaking. Wake up. This is the first of a series of videos about the whole Life Divine. This video is about Chapter 1 of Book 1. Not reading it, but summarizing it, discussing it, explaining it. Aurobindo's Life Divine is one of the main works of philosophy and one of the main works of spirituality in general. But it is very hard to understand. So far, not much has been written about it because it's too spiritual for philosophers and too philosophical for spiritual people. Aurobindo's English was consummate. He knew everything about that language in theory and practice, including all the words. And he liked to write in a style that is quite similar to the German philosophers of the 19th century, or the Greek and Latin philosophers of the ancient times. Moreover, the content of the book is on such a high level that most philosophers just can't understand it plainly. They have no idea what he's talking about. And for many spiritual people, it's either they don't know about it or it's like the Bible for them. So, to offer something new here, to my knowledge, in public, only Shraddhalu Ranade is talking about it. Otherwise, there's not much material about this amazing book. I've been studying it now for almost 18 years, and now I feel confident that I can explain it a little bit to make it more palatable, more intelligible. So without further ado, I will start with summarizing and explaining Chapter 1. Aurobindo starts his monumental work of all philosophy and spirituality, The Life Divine, with the observation that the true goal, the true human goal, might be the search after pure truth, the impulse towards perfection. No matter how you call this, God, light, freedom, immortality, truth, bliss, not just survival. The whole human species has this evolutionary general direction, or at least the urge, not only some rare individuals. At first, humans try to possess the divine, which they can sense somehow, initially as a means of escaping pain and suffering and death, which are always foiling their plans of satisfaction and happiness and peace and freedom. And at first, nature appears to be an adversary, a vague and vast threat which creates unsolved discords and paradoxa for humanity, and obstacles to their awakening. For example, floods, earthquakes, diseases, and so on. The perfect living being for nature seems to be some kind of animalistic, instinctive, mechanical, subconscious being. Or else a being with direct and perfect access to truth and consciousness. Yet we humans are normally neither. Neither are we perfect animals in harmony with nature, nor are we perfect humans in tune with nature. We are somehow caught in between and not in harmony at all. Moreover, there seems to be in nature an active method of evolution, of something greater, of some greater intelligence expressing itself in matter again and again and again. But is there a reason? Is there an explanation for this apparent evolution of and in nature? Or is there no point to it? And here Sri Aurobindo diverges from many enlightened teachers, or at least most non-dual ones, for it is often said that there is no point to Maya, no point in the appearance of phenomena, they just are. Whereas Sri Aurobindo does suspect a reason and a goal in a specific direction. The Vedas, the ancient Indian scriptures, suggest that all matter is really a form of life, and all life really a form of consciousness. And maybe the human beings are nature's living laboratories of creating consciousness from matter more directly, a manifestation of the divine itself in itself, with the aim of realizing itself in itself. Thus, the human apparent mental and physical torments, our limitations, our egoic sensation of separation, could be attempts of transcendence, of transcending what we are now as human beings. So we can thus either accept our limitations and say that we cannot be and cannot know more than what we experience as our immediate practical problems, limited by the laws of matter. Or we give in to the mystical hunger for something beyond the apparent. The latter aim is obscure and unsure, and even unlikely, and can be called by skeptics superstition or crude faith without any proof. The will to escape might indeed be futile. Or it might be the old caterpillar and butterfly theme, where the caterpillar cannot imagine what it might have in common with the butterfly, let alone become one day. But there's nevertheless a lingering, half-conscious longing for it. Will nature allow us to transcend and transform, or will she deny us? And if transformation is possible, are we then working against nature in this aspiration, or else even in accordance with the hidden plan of nature? Maybe even mind itself is the veil of our species' progress and destiny. The one view that all life and all nature is matter, and that there is no consciousness involved, or at least does not play an active role, or not an active role anymore, is called materialism. In materialism, there is no progress, and if, then only by chance, not by design. Here there is a notion of evolution, but only as dumb accident. Now, the current view of evolution is that nature progresses by trial and error. Nothing else. No plan there. And the other view, that all matter is an expression of consciousness, and that life is an interplay between matter and spirit, and that the divine has put an invisible plan into action, in which matter is only the means of expression, is called idealism. The first one is a denial of a higher complexity than is apparent to our human logic. And the second one is a refusal that this is all there is. Materialism can easily be proved by the experience of the 5 physical senses, while idealism can only be proved by the mind and other extraordinary senses, which in themselves are being denied by the materialist because they are not perceivable by the 5 main senses. So the materialistic reasoning is very simple and very easy to understand and very plausible, but it is circular. It is arguing with itself, with its own and within its own artificial, self-imposed axioms. While idealism can only counter with recounting personal experience. The next 2 chapters are dealing exactly with these 2 basic but extreme premises of human thought, which humanity has been contemplating and arguing about for as long as history has been recorded. And this might seem to you a theoretical dispute, but actually any human dispute can be broken down to these two extreme views, which are both limited and which have to be reconciled to get to a higher truth. Otherwise, you're always caught in at least one of them. Personally, and more so collectively. And Aurobindo's aim is not just to talk about his own personal experiences, but to explain how the human species as a whole can progress. And for this reason, this topic has to be dealt with first. Like in the Chinese philosophy, yin and yang. That's the basis. If this is not clear, there's no point in talking about any deeper or more sophisticated topics, because this is how our mind works. So this is it for today. Thank you very much. Very soon I will upload the second video about chapter 2 and 3. Thank you for all my Patreons. It means a lot. Thank you also for subscribing or sharing the videos with your friends or joining the Facebook group. And see you soon. If you have any questions, you can ask them on the Facebook group or on the Patreon site or via email.